shaken nation. It's possible that the pharaoh's son became sick as a result of the many other plagues, but if firstborns were disproportionately affected by the plague, there are some possible explanations. Firstborns are typically the ones who did the majority of the chores of the field for Egyptian families, and those fields might have been contaminated by the many pathogens released through the past plagues. So a plague targeting the firstborns might have just been a matter of exposure, but God had one more, even more dramatic act to follow. The story goes that the loss of his son broke the Pharaoh, and he agreed to let Moses lead the slaves out of Egypt. Everyone packed up their few belongings, headed for the border, and took some food, including unleavened bread, because there was no time to wait for it to rise. Imagine baking some emergency flatbread for your family while you flee slavery, and thousands of years later, people are still talking about your messed up bread. So the Jews headed for the border and made a smooth sailing from there. Or not. The Pharaoh's grief turned to rage, and he ordered his army to head to the border and drive the Jews back to slavery. At the same time, Moses was leading the people to the Red Sea. He raised his staff, and the sea parted for them, allowing them to walk through on dry land. As they made their way out of Egypt, they saw the Egyptian army roaring after them, and then, just as quickly as it had raised to the side, the Red Sea came crashing down on the Egyptian army, sweeping them away to their doom while the Jews walked on to safety. Which raises the same question as the 10 plagues: act of God or act of nature? Much like the death of the firstborns, it's highly unlikely this could have happened as described, without divine intervention. Most of the depictions of the parting of the Red Sea in movies have seen the sea part into walls that can be walked through, only to come crashing down at the exact right moment. However, tides can shift dramatically, especially with unusual weather conditions. It's possible that the level of the water was low at the time, allowing the Jewish slaves to wade the barrier, only for a flood or surge to arrive soon after, taking the Egyptians with it. But one scientist proposes another theory. Carl Drews believes the Red Sea of the Bible wasn't the Red Sea at all. It was a mistranslation from Sea of Reeds, and would have been located just south of the Mediterranean Sea. This would have been a shallow lagoon, and with unusually strong winds that day, it could have created the illusion of a party, and the shifting of winds could have caused the water to roll back. Whatever the answer, one thing is for sure. If these events happened anywhere near as described, Egypt did not have a good time, and changing up their labor policy was the least of the problem. Days 1 through 3. I've never left my village before, but now I've arrived in the city of Venice. It's absolutely breathtaking. People say it's a marvel of the world, like the ancient wonders, and even though I've never been more than a few miles from home, I don't have reason to doubt it. The entire city is built on a lagoon, with the very building seeming to float on the water. It's incredible, and I've been told that it's the secret to the city's success. It's all but impossible to lay siege to the floating city. My excitement is overwhelming, and I'm grateful that my best friend Cristoforo made the move with me to the city. With the trade in the Far East booming, the docks have been struggling to keep enough workers on hand. Many of the dock hands start their work here and then eventually make their move to one of the big sailing ships, setting it up for adventure in the far-flung corners of our world.
You
It's a
calling for
good way
some
to make
wheels?
money and earn
I'm
respect,
Johnny on
too.
the spot.
Maybe
I'll
one
hook
day
you up.
I too will leave the docks behind. But Cristoforo isn't a fan of big ships, and he's scared of deep water. I make fun of him, teasing him with the fact that we'll be living in a floating city surrounded by water. Our journey is pleasant enough, with good weather, surprisingly mild for summer, and soon enough we're in our new home. Days 4 through 7. We have a friend in the city, Johannes, or Helsinki flop houses for us. Smelly, dangerous places where criminals and the poorest of citizens stay. I hear that here in Venice, even the flop houses are nicer than anywhere else. And I don't doubt it, the city is beautiful. I'm so excited that it helps to cover up the pain of having to leave my family. But I won't be gone forever, just long enough to make good coin and eventually move my family here with me. Until then, they're only a week's journey away by foot. Maybe I'll even earn enough to buy a horse and cut the journey in half. You can't imagine the look on everyone's faces as I return home on my very own horse. Johannes and his beautiful wife Isabella are gracious and wonderful hosts. Johannes has done well for himself, investing in one of the galleys that sails the Asiatic trade routes, and we stayed in one of his spare bedrooms. There are 2 young children, boys that barely reach our waist, that are rambunctious and full of life. Cristoforo and I feel a joy sharing their home, and it helps cut
I'll
the
get
strain
there as soon as I can.
we
I'll
help
get
them
back
out
to
with
it
their
then.
toys as much as we can. Isabella senses her homesickness and sweetly goes out of her way to make us special treats and our favorite dishes to dull the pain. Cristoforo and I start working the day after our arrival. The job is hard, loading and unloading ships, but the pay is good. The city is wealthy, making a fortune from trade, and even dock hands make good coin here, earning significantly more than any other port man. By the end of our first day, I already had thousands on my hands. It's worth it. Back home, I've got a farmer like my father and his father before him, making just enough to continue living, but with no hope of improving the
Morse Mutual. How can I be of service? It doesn't look like you have enough money in your account. Can you divert some funds and try again?
People are starting to fall ill with genuine disease. They've been breaking out large boils that ooze a foul
Have a nice day.
Doctors are incapable of treating them and admit that they die soon after infection. No one seems to know what's causing it, and it bears concern anytime someone has an errant cough. But then everyone laughs.
I'm on the clock. What you want? Some wheels?
Days 10 through 12. Two of the foremen at the docks haven't shown up to work, and there's been several workers who've come down with a severe fever.
Okay, I got stuff to do.
Especially with the rumors coming from Genoa and nearby cities that spread with each arriving ship. An official from the city came to inspect the docks this morning. He kept a rag covering his mouth and nose the entire time. I don't know what his purpose was, but he made many notes and left in a hurry. I'm concerned if they shut down the docks, they'll shut down my only source of income, but I shake those fears away. The very lifeblood of Venice is the sprawling docks. Without the wealth the trade ships bring in, all the fancy schools and institutions the city's world famous for would shut their doors for good. Days 13 through 15. Something is very wrong. At least half of the dock workers have fallen ill, many too sick to continue working. Nobody is allowed to visit any of the affected, and the city's begun moving them to warehouses near the docks. They've even started to post guards outside the warehouses to ensure nobody goes in or comes out. The rumors that will soon be shut down are even stronger, and several more city officials have come to visit, all of them covering their noses and mouths with rags. A young boy of 16 Cristoforo and I befriended has started coughing, but he laughs it off when we express our concern. We can't help but keep our distance from him, even though it feels rude to do so, but I'll admit it, I'm scared. Days 16 to 20. The docks have been shut down. I can't believe it. One of the most famous ports in the entire world has been brought to a...
You need something, huh? Want your ride?
Ships anchored offshore grows by the day, each waiting to deliver their cargo. I hear that the crews are furious, knowing that each day they sit out at anchor, they lose profit. Cristoforo and I have received a full month's pay, despite working only half.
It's coming at you. Aight, I'll get back to work.
But though the pay is fair, it won't last us long if the docks stay shut down. Keep trying to keep Cristoforo's spirits up, reminding him that Venice is a trade city. You can't survive without it. They'll keep the docks shut down long enough to get on top of the strange new illness, and then we'll reopen again. Johannes and Isabella have been very gracious to us despite our temporary loss of work. We both promised to find other jobs in the meantime, but I simply nod and smile. I admit,
You're through to your garage. You, need me to bring you a ride?
His wife and 2 young children reminds me of my own parents and younger siblings. I hope that I'll be able to visit them soon, but I won't be able to if I can't earn a living. Days 21 to 24. Cristoforo and I found work delivering supplies to those victims of the illnesses being housed in the warehouses by the docks, and my God, I wish I hadn't taken the job. Nobody knows much of what's going on. City officials are very quiet on what exactly is happening, and people grow restless. I discovered why they're keeping so silent while delivering bread and soup to the hungry victims of this mysterious illness. Before being let into the warehouse, I was given several clean rags dampened with olive oil, which I was told to wrap around my head so it covered my nose and mouth, and I was warned to breathe only through my rags. What I saw inside terrifies me still. The pitiful men and women were covered in large boils, many of which burst, leaking foul-smelling pus onto the bed sheets. Those were the lucky ones. Those whom the disease was ravaging the worst had fingers, toes, and even entire limbs green and black from gangrene. One man had an entire hand blackened with the foul disease, and I've been told that limbs are known to simply fall off from rotting. I rushed to a corner of the cramped warehouse and vomited, removing my oil-dampened face covering. One of the good sisters, an elderly nun by the name of Sister Caterina, comforted me as I replaced my protective coverings. I don't know what this evil is, but it consumes men from the inside and blackens their very limbs. Only a disease from Satan himself could do something so foul. Days 25 to 28. The city's been officially quarantined. Church services are canceled indefinitely, and street performers and charlatans banned from city centers. Travel across the Rialto Bridge has been suspended, effectively cutting the city in half.
It's on the way. I'll get back to it then.
We are a city too, with each half cut off not just from each other, but the rest of the world. The wealthy, however, seem exempt from these restrictions, and every day they board small vessels to make the trip to the mainland, away from the crowded city. The city suddenly feels crowded and stuffy, despite the authorities banning travel except for 1 hour a day. There's rumors that that will soon end as well. Cristoforo and I are exempt from these restrictions by the nature of our work. Someone must care for the sick after all.
What you need, boss? Some wheels? I can bring them around.
Work, I'm afraid. I don't want to be anywhere near those warehouses anymore. At least the city has increased our pay and an incentive to continue doing our necessary work. I'm earning more than I did at the docks, but I wish that I could just quit. Johannes hasn't asked us for any money, except a bit to help cover food expenses, and has so far refused us giving him any form of rent, claiming hospitality is his Christian duty. He's a good man, and I'm glad to have him and his family in these dark times. He is 29 to 33. I've come to know Sister Katerina quite well in the last week. She's a good woman, and when I confide in her that I'm afraid to do my work because of the disease, she gently nods and pats my hand. It's natural to be afraid, she says, but we must share the love of Christ with these unfortunate souls, even despite our fear, and we do so by feeding and caring for them. She's right, of course, but I am still afraid. Each day, the number of victims in the warehouses grow. Several are now full to the brim, and more
Okay,
warehouses are
I got
being
stuff to
commandeered
do.
by the city for use as makeshift hospitals. The situation is increasingly grim, and I can't help but wonder if soon the entire city won't find itself in one of these sprawling warehouses. Eventually, though, room does become available, albeit for very macabre reasons. Not many are surviving this foul disease. As their bodies become covered in large pustules, their extremities blacken and then die. Soon, too, does the spirit within them die. On average, it only takes 8 days, but for some, they last 2 weeks. Of every 10 men who enter the warehouse as patients, only 2 will recover. Days 34 through 36. Cristoforo has a plan.
Lemano-Kupian region has become the epicenter of a tense and risky war, it has witnessed a critical turn in the escalating Ukraine-Russia conflict. The conflict marked a significant escalation as the occupying Russian forces carried out a series of audacious attacks under the name of dispersing Ukrainian positions. The purpose of and risky war It has witnessed a critical turn in the escalating Ukraine-Russia conflict. The conflict marked a significant escalation as the occupying Russian forces carried out a series of audacious attacks under the name of dispersing Ukrainian positions. The purpose of this operation was to overcome Ukraine's defense lines and establish a strategic foothold in the disputed region. The Limano-Kupian region, a historically disputed region, found itself at the epicenter of intense hostilities when the occupying Russian forces carried out 3 attacks in a row. This ambitious operation was characterized by a calculated and relentless search to overcome the Ukrainian defense lines, in which the invaders aimed to provide a critical strategic foothold in the region. Limano-Kupian had long been a topic of discussion in the Ukraine-Russia conflict due to its historical and geopolitical significance. Both sides understood the value of this region and made this region an important focus in their respective strategies. The primary goal was to overcome the Ukrainian defense lines and gain a tactical advantage in the region. This will allow the invaders to gain control and influence over key areas and could potentially change the dynamics of the conflict. Having established a strategic foothold in Limano-Kupian, the Russian forces aimed to seize territorial control, which could later be used for political and military purposes. The operation was also aimed at exerting more pressure on the Ukrainian forces, forcing them to put resources and attention into countering the relentless offensive. Russian forces launched a calculated and relentless offensive using a variety of tactics, including heavy artillery bombardments, airstrikes, and infantry attacks. The intensity of the attacks was aimed at creating confusion, to fear, and overwhelm the Ukrainian troops. Multiple rocket launchers, MRLS. Russian forces have deployed MRLS such as the BM-21 Grad, BM-27 Uragan, and BM-30 Smerch. These long-range artillery systems were raining down showers of rockets with devastating explosive power, capable of targeting a wide area and causing serious damage to both troops and infrastructure. Towed and self-propelled howitzers. Towed howitzers such as the 2 A-65 Mista-B and self-propelled systems such as the 2 S-19 Mista-S provided Russian artillery with precision and firepower, capable of firing extremely accurate and destructive projectiles at long distances. Combat helicopters. Russian attack helicopters such as the Mi-24 Hind and Mi-28 Havoc have been deployed to carry out ground attacks and provide close air support to the advancing infantry. Among its weapons were rockets, decoy cannons, and anti-tank guided missiles, and attack aircraft. Russian fixed-wing attack aircraft, including the Su-25 Frogfoot, have been used to attack key Ukrainian positions. These aircraft were equipped with a range of munitions, including unguided and precision-guided bombs, air-to-ground missiles, and automatic cannons. Infantry weapons. Russian infantry were equipped with a variety of small arms, including assault rifles, machine guns, and sniper rifles to engage in close-range combat with Ukrainian forces. Grenade launchers. Infantry units may have used underbarrel grenade launchers, such as the GP-25 or GP-30, to launch explosive grenades with accuracy and precision. Armored vehicles. Russian armored vehicles, including tanks such as the T-72 and BMP infantry fighting vehicles, played a crucial role in advancing the troops and